Hello, all. My name is Matt Botkin, and I'm a science teacher from St. Louis, Missouri. I am also a doctoral candidate at Boise State University for Educational Technology. Thank you so much for joining us today for the defense of my research proposal. My proposal is titled Exploring Teachers' Technology Self-Efficacy and Interactive Technology Practices in Secondary Science Classrooms. To begin, let's discuss the rapid expansion of technology. Access to technology has grown exponentially in many years, as many new programs, platforms, tools that exist to aid science instruction have begun and spread. Some of these tools include VR, e-texts, interactive whiteboards, and interactive videos. Research even suggests that this has positively influenced student engagement and learning. Despite this increase in availability, many teachers lack the confidence to integrate technology into their practices. An ISTE study reported 56% of participants reported low confidence in technology integration. Additionally, I was able to identify a previous gap of literature that focuses on K-12 science instruction. In a scoping study by Dr. Trust Palacios and I, we identified only a handful of articles that evaluated K-12 instruction using virtual reality. This indicates that literature is limited that studies those K-12 teachers and their practices. This study has three main goals. The first goal is to examine the relationship between teachers' technology self-efficacy and their use of different interactive technologies. Our second goal of the research is to explore how self-efficacy influences the instructional decisions and technology implementation that teachers do each day. The third goal is to provide insight for professional development and in order to better support our teachers. In terms of literature, interactive technology can be described as hardware and software tools that establish interaction spaces and utilize real-time user input and environmental sensing to generate engagement and knowledge. He et al. Conducted a meta-analysis to explore the effect of different interactive technologies in language instruction. In this analysis, they identified 5 major categories of interactive technology use. These categories will be used to guide our study for defining and discussing the different types of interactive technology. The first one to be noted is the flipped classroom. While this is considered an instructional practice, this study will use it to describe the technologies used to make the practice possible. We will look at the technology students use to interact with content outside of the classroom. Additionally, we will discuss game-based learning like digital games, mobile device applications that can be used as mobile tools or digital instruments. Additionally, we will discuss multimedia and videos. All these different tools have been shown to help students better visualize complex concepts, collaborate with peers, and apply technical skills. It also has benefits for teachers as well because it increases student engagement, student comprehension, and real-life applications. This study also is informed by self-efficacy. Specifically, Albert Bandura's self-efficacy theory explains how an individual's belief in their capabilities influences their behavior, their motivation, and persistence. Within the context of educational technology, self-efficacy helps explain why some teachers integrate additional tools effectively while others hesitate or struggle. Teachers' beliefs about their technology capabilities directly impact their willingness to experiment, to adapt, and to sustain technology in their classrooms. Higher levels of technology self-efficacy experience more frequent technology integration, stronger persistence in the face of technical challenges, and are more confident in adapting tools to meet the needs of many diverse learners. This study is also informed by the ISTE Standards for Educators. This was a framework created by the International Society for Technology and Education. The organization wanted to create a professional and practice-oriented framework that helped teachers easily define what effective technology integration looked like in the classroom. These standards have shown educators to act as learners, leaders, citizens, collaborators, designers, facilitators, and analysts. This applied framework provides context to teachers' self-efficacy towards technology. You can see this theoretical framework shows how self-efficacy, shaped by Bandura's theory and contextual influences, drives teachers' confidence in using technology. These contextual influences can be things like barriers, supports, or their background. This confidence influences teachers' interactive technology use, which then shapes the instructional practices they choose to use in their classroom. Ultimately, these choices impact student learning and engagement. This leads us into our research questions. I have 3 research questions for my dissertation proposal. Question number 1 is, how are the levels of technology self-efficacy among secondary science teachers related to their use of interactive technologies in their classroom practice? Research question number 2 asks, how do secondary science teachers identified with high and low educational technology standard self-efficacy describe their use of interactive technology in their teaching practices? Research question number 3 asks, how do the qualitative findings help explain the quantitative relationship between teachers' technology self-efficacy and their use of interactive technologies? In terms of my research approach, we will take a quantitative and qualitative step in order to create a mixed methods approach. So research question number 1 is the quantitative question. It uses the Interactive Technology Frequency Survey. It's a research-created survey based on he et al.'s meta-analysis. It also uses the Educational Technology Standard Self-Efficacy Scale. Ultimately, the goal of that quantitative research is to measure teacher self-efficacy and interactive technology use. The qualitative approach involves using semi-structured interviews, and this is directly related to research question number 2. The goal of the qualitative research section is to describe classroom practices and secondary science teachers. Lastly is the mixed methods integration, and this comes with research question number 3. This will be shown in the project as a joint display matrix. Ultimately, the goal is to synthesize the empirical evidence of association and provide discussion on classroom practices. In terms of participants, we have to consider the quantitative participants and the qualitative participants. In terms of quantitative participants, I'd like to receive between 75 and 125 completed survey responses. Those who choose to participate in the survey need to meet a minimum set of inclusion criteria. These include being employed as a middle school or high school teacher, having an active instructional role in at least one science course, and teach in a Midwestern state. For those who choose to participate in the survey, they will be entered into a drawing to win a gift card. For the qualitative side of things, I will need to interview approximately 12 participants. These criteria are same as those expressed in the quantitative side, except participants will have to reconsent after the survey to be a part of the interviews, and their self-efficacy scores must place them into the upper or the lower quartile, the top 25% or the bottom 25% in terms of self-efficacy. Those who choose to participate in the interview will definitely receive a gift card for an appreciation of their time. Data collection will occur in 2 phases. The first phase will be the quantitative phase, and in that phase, participants will complete a survey via a secure survey system known as Qualtrics. In the survey, participants will have to complete 2 different instruments. The first one is the Educational Technology Standard Self-Efficacy Scale, ETSSE scale, and this has 40 items on a 5-point Likert scale. There is a Cronbach's Alpha 0.95, giving high reliability for the scale. In addition, this scale has 5 domains. The first one is facilitating student learning and creativity. The second being designing digital age learning experiences and assessments. The third, modeling digital age work and learning. The fourth, promoting digital citizenship. And the fifth, engaging in continuous professional development and growth. After that, participants will complete the Interactive Technology Frequency Survey. This is a researcher-created survey based on the Interactive Technologies meta-analysis by he et al. It's a 6-point Likert scale that goes from daily to yearly usages, and this survey will also gather demographic information from participants. On the qualitative side of things, participants will compete in semi-structured interviews. This includes 8 primary research questions that are aligned to the previous dimensions of that Educational Technology Standard Self-Efficacy Scale. Additionally, 2 questions have been added for inductive insights. These ask about the concerns about interactive technology and ask for additional insights. These data will be collected through a secure video conferencing tool known as Zoom. Data analysis will also be done in 2 phases. The first phase will be the quantitative phase. Data will be gathered from the survey platform and uploaded into the SPSS software. This is done to determine the relationship between secondary science teachers' levels of technology self-efficacy and their use of interactive technologies in their practices. We will be using both descriptive and inferential statistics. Descriptive statistics will be calculated for the 5 scale subfactors and the categories from the Technology Frequency Survey. This will be used to determine the most commonly used types of interactive technology. Additionally, we will use inferential statistics to explore the relationship between self-efficacy and interactive technology use. Specifically, we'll be using Pearson's correlation to assess strength and direction of the linear relationship of the variables. On the qualitative side of things, we will upload interview data and have them transcribed in vivo software. The purpose of the qualitative research is to explore how teachers describe their experiences using interactive technology and to use their voices to provide context to the quantitative research. Analysis will be done through a systematic multi-phase coding. The first cycle is deductive cycle, and it will be used to identify how participants' voices fall into those 5 subfactors established by our self-efficacy scale. The second cycle of coding is deductive and descriptive, where we will be using in vivo coding to capture experiences and language. This allows the researcher to summarize key ideas and preserve participant voices. Our last and third cycle is the pattern coding. It is used to group similar codes and identify overarching categories and relationships across the interviews. Our study does pose some potential limitations. First off, the sample is limited to those who choose to participate in our survey and by geographical region. We can address this by providing clear inclusion criteria for our participants and avoid overgeneralization during the findings process. Another possible limitation includes the self-reporting bias from teachers as they give us their information and data. This can be addressed by using a highly validated instrument, and our Educational Technology Standard Self-Efficacy Scale has a Cronbach's alpha 0.95, indicating a high reliability. Additionally, assuring participants of confidentiality will reduce the risk of self-report bias. Lastly, we also will need to consider the different IRB processes that may vary across the different school districts that are involved in the study. It's important to start the IRB process early and document the recruitment workflow for transparency. Who and where do all the participants come from, and how did we get permission? Lastly, it's important to maintain flexibility for timelines in terms of data collection as those different IRB processes are moved forward. In terms of the significance of our research, we are here to address the gap in research, specifically in that of secondary science teachers and the uses of interactive technology. Additionally, we want to gather empirical insights into how often teachers are using certain technologies in their classroom and in their instructions. And we want to identify areas where teachers feel confident or need training in order to improve professional development and policy for the different schools and districts. Throughout this, we will be following closely behind Boise State's Institutional Review Board process and seeking approval at each level. Following the conclusion of this proposal, the IRB application will be submitted to the board. Participants will need to provide consent in order to participate in each of the survey and steps of the project. During the quantitative phase, participants will have to agree and consent to see the survey and participate in it. Those who participate in interviews will have to reconsent in order to continue with the interview. All data will be kept in a secure, password-protected folder per IRB guidelines. This diagram shows the first 2 phases of my dissertation timeline. The first phase, highlighted in blue, identifies the proposal defense, which is this very presentation, and the IRB submission process, which will take place in late November through mid-December. During that process, I will not only submit applications to the Boise State Institutional Review Board, but I will begin submitting applications to the various institutions I wish to work with. The second phase, highlighted in gray, is the quantitative phase. This is the quantitative data collection where the Educational Technology Standard Self-Efficacy Survey will be distributed out for teachers to complete. Additionally, the quantitative data analysis will occur February to early March, and during this time, I will clean, code, and analyze the survey data using SPSS. My goal is to identify high and low self-efficacy participants for the semi-structured interviews. This timeline diagram shows the third and fourth stages of the dissertation process. In the blue is the third station. This is the qualitative data collection phase. So it begins by conducting the semi-structured interviews in March of 2026. This will be done with participants scheduled through Zoom. And then following that, in March through early April, will be the qualitative data analysis. This is where deductive, descriptive, and pattern coding will be applied and to look for developing themes and verify themes through warrantability checks. The final stage of the dissertation process, outlined in gray, is the integration and conclusion section. This is where I will create a joint matrix and narrative integration of the quantitative and qualitative findings. I will then make my final revisions and begin the process for final defense of my dissertation process. Thank you so much for your time and listening to my presentation. I hope to continue this process, and I look forward to hearing your feedback on what I can do to improve my dissertation proposal in the beginning stages of actually gathering the research data. If you have any questions or any concerns, please feel free to email me at the address labeled below. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.